Tonight's episode of TWITS is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Left and right. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Week 5 edition of TWITS. Joining me once again from the palatial estate in Brownwood proper, Mr. Mike Peck. How are you, sir?
Doing fine. How you doing up there?
Doing excellent, Mike. A little rainy and cold up here today.
Start of the old hockey season?
Yes. Congratulations to one Brett Sonderman that made the B1 squad after a scrimmage against Coon Rapids the other night. So, yeah, he's very excited. And also 5-0 on the season for the Centennial Cougars on his football team. So,
Sick 'em Cougars.
Yes, 3 shutouts in 5 games for the Cougars. So, big matchup against friendly Fridley this weekend, Mike.
It won't be that friendly.
No, it won't. But usually Fridley is not the best of football teams, so hopefully that one goes well also. Mike, props to you partaking in the 3M Bike Challenge. You're in 6th place. Now, Mike, is that an ongoing thing, or is that final standing?
That is final. That was May through September.
Ah, not November.
No. I logged 2,496 miles, I think.
That's almost a metric ton.
Quite.
Good work.
I did.
I did not. All right, Mike, let's move into the news and notes portion of TWITS. We're going to start off again, Mike. Once again, the YouTube feedback on this was just outstanding, so we're going to go into the site deep dive. Take a look at the lineup card, Mike. The area where you set your lineup. There's a couple of things there I hope people are aware of, but just in case you're not, we're going to go over them. First thing to note, Mike, if you click on any of your players' names in the lineup section, that's going to bring you up to a Google window. It'll automatically default it to Google News, I believe, within the past week. So if you just want to click on that name, you'll get a recap of all the web events surrounding your player over the past 7 days. And then 2 other things people might not know about. You can click on the history button. There's a little, looks like the history channel icon next to your player's name. And that's going to bring up, as we see here on the screen, Jordy Nelson. Look at him. We can see what he's done against the Minnesota Vikings dating all the way back to 2008, Mike, so you can get a look at how your player has fared against the team they're playing this week.
Nice.
And then there's a little, looks like a graph icon. You can pull that up and you can check on your player and see how they're doing both in fantasy points, touches, and yards against the rest of the league. So we see here DeMarco Murray obviously having a banner year. You can see he's currently number 2 in points and looks like number 1 in touches per game, and then it'll give you a breakdown of what he's done for each week. Also, Mike, you'll notice here on the bottom of that top graph, you can get a look at what his upcoming schedule is and what the ranks are of the defenses that he'll be playing. So gives you a good little overview there. So those are a couple of hidden little Easter eggs in that section that people might be overlooking. So take advantage of those. Mike, once again, speaking of YouTube reaction, nothing but positive results on the Commission's 3-pack O-Facts. And this week, Mike gets presented by a beer I've never had before. I was introduced to this beer by one of the guys I coached football with last year. It's Fallen Angel Sweet Stout. And it's brewed by the Imperium Brewing Company out of a little town you like to call Lincoln, Nebraska, Mike.
Oh, yeah, I've had the Imperium before.
Yeah, it is a really, really good fall beer. Yeah, it is sweet, but not overkill on that portion of it. So definitely recommended.
Nice.
So let's look at the 3-pack of facts, Mike. Mike.
Yes.
First fact, we're going to deal with the number 0. And for those of you who may notice, we changed our intro music this week to a little song by Queens of the Stone Age, a little song called 3s and 7s. So we'll get to that in the next segment. But right now we're going to deal, Mike, with the number 0. And Green Bay and Chicago played this last weekend, as you may know. And, Mike, there were a total of 0 punts in that game. That's only the second time that's ever happened. The other time, September 13th, 1992, Buffalo against San Francisco.
What?
That was the only that's the only other regular season game with no punts.
Hey, was that those are 2 powerhouses back in the day, too.
Oh, yeah. That was probably Kelly v. Young or something like that. So
pretty close.
Yep. Secondly, Mike, we're going to look at number 2 here, and that is the number 2. With a punt return for a touchdown by Sproles, a blocked punt return by Brad Smith, and an interception return for a touchdown by Malcolm Jenkins, Philadelphia became just the second team in history to pull off such a trifecta. Here's the interesting part, Mike. Teams that had 3 returns for touchdowns in a game before this were 71, 1, and 1. And the Eagles managed to lose that game 26-21. So
yeah.
And last but probably least, number 17, Mike. Since opening up 17-0 halftime week 1 against Philadelphia, Jacksonville has since been outscored 152-41.
Woo!
Those were Jaguars are now 0-4, and only 21 of those 41 points have been scored in the first half. So yes, it's kind of gone downhill after 2 quarters for the Jags.
Hence the old rookie Bortles playing now, right?
He's in there, yep. I don't see him leaving, barring injury either. All right, Michael, as I mentioned, Queens of the Stone Age, we're going to take a look now at What's in a Number, a segment we debuted, I believe, back in our first episode of 2014. Brought to you this week by Mott's Paint. Mike, better paint with Mott's. So, taking a look this week, we had an interesting occurrence, not only this week, but this year. People may not have noticed, but Mr. Tim Boncher started the year with 3 consecutive 37s. So, week 1, 37-49, week 2, 37-75, and week 3, 37-36. And then, Mike, he followed it up in week 4 with a 73. So, Mr. Boncher becomes the first person ever to use only 2 digits, if you will, in the scoring column for his team for the first 4 weeks. It has happened before where an owner has had the same score 3 consecutive weeks. It started, Tim had 47 back in weeks 3, 4, and 5 of 2009. And let's see, Tom had 25 points in week 11, 12, and 13 of 2000. So those were consecutive weeks where an owner had that, but never has happened where the following week, in the 4th week, he used the same numbers to come up with the weekly total there.
It sounds like he had his incantation off just a little bit in those first 3 weeks, and then he got it right.
That's right.
Nailed the old 73.
That is correct, Mike. And also of note, it has happened one other time though, where in a given week, owners have scored the same point total. The most that's ever happened is 4 times, Mike. So back in 1996, if you have your way back hat, put that on. Week 16 of 96. We had 4 owners who scored the same point total in a given week. 24 was that total. Greg over Mickey, 24-11. Thad and Wayne with a 24-24 tie. And Tim, 24, Tony, 36. So that's another little interesting tidbit. There has been, looks like, 3 other times where owners have scored the same amount in a given week. So there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times where 3 owners have scored the same amount. And the other thing about 3s and 7s, Mike, this week is that we had 3 owners, myself, Nikki, and Tim, who all scored 73 to kind of tie that record. So definitely a week for 3s and 7s. All right, Mike, let's look at the weekly rewind back for week number 4. We had Bill and Evan squaring off, Mike, and Bill takes that one, Nipton Tucking Fair, 51-47 behind DeMarco Murray's 19. The Commish and Greg squared off, and the Commish netted 73, one of the 3 73s, as I mentioned, behind 18 from Steve Smith to take a 73-39 win. Mickey, 73. Mike, you had 29. Mickey was paced by Jamal Charles. You were paced by Des Bryant. Thad, 46. Tom, 41. Frank Gore with 13. Jay Cutler with 12, respectively. And our last 73, scored by Tim, gets a 22 out of Matt Asiata. And takes care of Wayne's 62 points. He was paced by one Eddie Royal with 17.
Nice.
That is your weekly rewind, Mike. What do we have coming up in week 5 on tap?
Sondo, your spotlight matchup for week 5 is Fenn's Brick Walls at 2-2 with 173 points against Mickey Crazy Mom. Rolling through the old season here at 4-0 with 219 points. Mickey does lead that all-time points, 1435 to 1424, but Thad leads the series 22-18, winning 4 of the last 6 to get to that point. And that is your difference. The rest of the on tap, we have Brooklyn Bill and Dorothy Mantooth at 3-1 with 212 points against Tim Cranky Pants at 2-2, 184 points. And Jeff, it's La Fin du Monde as we know it still, huh?
That's right.
Taking your 3-1 record with 210 points versus Evans Minnesota Vikings at 1-3 with 200 points. You lead that series 19-15. So it's pretty close. You won the last 3 to get to there. So pretty tight up to that point.
That's right.
And then Wayne Bagel at 1-3 with 222 points against me, Skippy John Jones.
Woo!
Coming in at 2-2 with 208 points this week after getting slaughtered last week. We'll see what happens there. And then rounding out the week, we have Tom Brixton Sky at 1-3 with 185 points against Greg. Ain't nobody got time for that at 1-3 as well with 220 points. And that's what's on tap.
Very nice. All right, Mike. Well, we had one record setters this week. We had Wayne cracking the top 10 of most wide receiver points all time in a week with 34. So I believe that was Eddie Royal and Randall Cobb with a pair of 17s there to get him to that point.
Nice.
That's right, Mike. All right, well, let's break into everyone's tertiary favorite, the Chalk Talk segment. Mike, the Chalk Talk segment is off to a bit of a rough start. Took another stop loss on Tampa this week. They decided to show up in Pittsburgh after not showing up at all in Atlanta. So 0-2 mark on the year, Mike, but hoping to get off the schneid this week. Triple down on this one, folks. Seattle. Normally don't like them traveling to the East Coast, Mike. They're taking on Washington this week, but it is a Monday night game, so they'll have plenty of rest, plenty of time to get acclimated to the Eastern time zone. Only laying 7 against Kirk Cousins-led Washington team, which couldn't really put it together against New York last week. I think Seattle also coming off a bye. They should be rested, so I'm going to take the Seabags to easily cover the 7 and get Chalk Talk back in the win column.
I agree with that statement there.
All right, Mike. Dog of the week. Big week for you last week, Mike. You had the Eagles. They needed all 6 points, but They survived in San Francisco against the spread, losing by 5. So what do you have on tap this week?
Sondo, the dog of the week, is going to the dog pound, where we have Cleveland going into Tennessee and getting 2 points on the road. Tennessee in a bit of a disarray. I believe the tight end, a couple of their tight ends are hurt. The quarterback's hurt. Cleveland's playing pretty good ball right now. They got a good defense. I will take that 2 points, and we're calling Cleveland in a win. We don't even need the 2 points, but we'll take it. And that's your dog of the week.
I like it. All right, Mike. Well, let's move quickly to game of the week. Hypothetically, Mike, you know, the game of the week, I don't think there's any doubt about what it is. It's your Packers in the what may be the muck and the mire of Lambeau Field against the Minnesota Vikings. But we'll digress, Mike, and we'll move on to the Cincinnati Bengals at the New England Patriots. You and I both moved to 1-1 on the year. Last week, I had the Packers, you had the Bears, so that brings our record square. How do you see the Cincy New England game panning out?
Yeah, it's a bit of a catch game there because New England played so horribly, but I just don't see them getting a fix that quick. And Cincinnati is probably playing some of the best football in the NFL, let alone the AFC. So I like Cincy in this one. They got a good defense and a good offense. They should be able to hold off anything that New England throws at them. I like Cincy by probably about 6.
Not so fast, my friend. The one thing you do not want to do, Mike, is wake up an angry Patriot, and that's what you got up there in New England after that debacle on Monday night. They're going to have a short week. They're going to be agitated. They're going to be irritated. I completely agree with you in a logical sense that Cincy, regardless of the venue, should probably win this game. But just like last week, I'm throwing logic out the door. That's the NFL for you. You know, when you've got, like I said, Pittsburgh, Tampa going in and beating Pittsburgh after losing to Atlanta, and then Atlanta rolling into Minnesota and getting slaughtered by the Vikings. So transit of property does not apply in the NFL, Mike, so I'm going to take the New England Patriots at home to have a bounce-back game. And that is game of the week.
I was told there'd be no math.
There's very minimal math. There's very, very minimal math. But, you know, when you got a segment like What's in a Number, Mike, you know, that should have maybe tipped you off, but I don't know.
Side angle side?
Yes. So cotangent. So yes. All right, Mike. Well, that will wrap up week 5 of TWITS. Good luck on your Emmy for week 4. Like I said, probably the best setting I've seen since Gravity. So
if only they knew it would hit the cutting room floor.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, if the cutting room floor could talk, like all the segment stuff that you have to cut out of these things. People don't know this. This TWITS recording, I mean, it's about 20 minutes, but we have, what, Mike, a good 5-6 hours each week that you have to pare down. So it's definitely a labor of love and yeoman's work. So good job, good luck on the Emmy, and we will see everyone back here for week number 6.
Adios.
Adios.